Now leaves for the final argument from the prosecution to be presented by Ali Miraj. Ali Miraj, with the power entrusted to me as judge, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, the black truth, and nothing but the truth, without fear of favor, so help you the glorious Quran?
I do, Your Honor.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Honor. And members of the jury, you have a very, very important decision to make this evening, which is where to cast your vote, and more importantly, whether your vote should be taken for granted by a party that has consistently taken you for granted for the best part of 70 years. And the question is this: not whether you should not vote for the Labour Party, but you should actually think about doing it before you do so. I know that the bar is very low at the moment in terms of British politics as to what qualifies as a decent government. I mean, come on. I mean, anything would be better than the lot we have now, I understand. So it's difficult to defend what we've got at the moment. But let me just offer you three things to think about when you make this decision. The first is that ethnic minorities are not a monolithic bloc. When we think about ethnic minorities, this is the failure. This is what always happens, particularly on the left. They always think that ethnic minorities are some monolithic bloc, that they all vote the same, they all think the same. Nothing could be further from the truth. Just think about Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, who actually was center on the screen there, which I was quite pleased to see. She warned us in 2009 of the danger of a single story. Do not assume that every person who's black and brown thinks the same. This is the danger. This is exactly what the left do. So, for example, when you have people like Suella Braverman or Kemi Badenoch or all these people who I have no time for whatsoever, but to simply believe that because of the color of their skin, they should have a particular viewpoint on the world, how racist is that? That is bizarre, to just think because of skin color that they should actually advocate for a certain view, even though they genuinely don't actually believe it for whatever reasons, for their history, their background, whatever it may be. So you cannot assume that we are one unit. Also, just look at the census in 2021. 9% of the population is of South Asian origin, 4% black, 2.9% others. So it is a disparate community, and that should be borne in mind. The second thing to remember is that if you look at the Labour Party and the monopoly that it has had, that monopoly that has lasted from the 60s to the 70s, all the way through to when David Cameron became leader of this country in 2010, that monopoly is not what it was. You just look at the front bench of the government party at the moment, and you have a situation where you have ethnic minorities in the Conservative Party, for heaven's sake, with no positive discrimination whatsoever, competing last year for the leadership. 6 out of the 11 leadership contenders in the first round were black or brown. And there were quite a few women in that, too. 4 out of the 8 in the shortlist were also from ethnic minorities. So this monopoly that the Labour Party has consistently had is shattered, it's broken. And I can tell you this, 40% of British Indians voted for Brexit. Just ponder that for a second. And I can also tell you on good authority that in places like Moore Park, which is west of London in Hertfordshire, which is full of up-and-coming, aspiring Indian, very wealthy people, not very many of them are voting Labour at all. Where are they voting? They're voting Tory, and if they want to hold their nose, they just about manage to vote Lib Dem. So, that's what's happening. The monopoly of the Labour Party is broken. And thirdly, just think about this. Think about the issues themselves, the issues that actually matter to you. And what are they? I don't know. Everyone has their own issues, apart from trying to get a decent crust on the table, trying to actually advance your kids' education, trying to have a decent life, trying to not get stabbed on the street when you walk out of here. That wouldn't happen, of course. It's a very civilized place, Shoreditch. I used to DJ down the road for 6 years. I know, it's all right. It's all right here. But the point is this. You think about what your actual issues are. Are they around education, getting a decent education, being able to keep down a job, the discrimination that black and brown people still face in the workplace in terms of the amount that they get paid and the opportunities that they get. And this is not to say that I'm a believer in structural discrimination, because I'm not. I think it's a fallacy, but I do think there are issues that need to be addressed. I'm not one of these people who just simply says that everything is structurally racist and we must all believe in critical race theory, and therefore we must hold our hands up and just say, none of this is on me, I have no agency at all. I think that's completely wrong. But look, education and employment is one. Health is another one. I can see someone disagreeing with me here. This will be very interesting. Another one is health. Some of the fundamental inequalities in the health system. Think about that. It was mentioned before about foreign policy. I mean, foreign policy, when it comes to the Labour Party, give me a break, for heaven's sake. I mean, the biggest thing that's happening right now, and I say this as someone who believes that Israel had an absolute right to defend itself, but not in the way it is doing. It is completely and utterly diminishing its own arguments at the moment by what it's actually doing right now. And you look at the Labour Party, have they said a peep of anything about this? No, they're absolutely squarely following the government line. So my appeal to you is this. If you want to vote Labour, be my guest. But for heaven's sake, don't be taken for granted. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. By process of elimination, it just leaves